Hey everybody, welcome back to Rachel Reads. My name is Rachel. I love to read and write Christian fiction, and today I'm doing the Exposing My TBR Tag. So I was tagged to do this by Lindsay over at Lindsay from BFCG, and thank you so much for tagging me. This is a really fun tag. It is also very interesting because I'm talking all about the books I haven't read yet. For my physical TBR, there's not a lot, but for my Goodreads TBR, there's a lot, and you'll hear the official number towards the end of this video. Question number 1. How do I come across books to add to my TBR? So typically it's YouTube, Goodreads, and sometimes a bookstore or a library, but typically it is YouTube and Goodreads. I'll see what people are reading, and if they like it or if it just sounds really good, I probably will check it out. Question number 2. Booktuber shout out to the person who adds the most books to my TBR. And currently it is Lindsay from BFCG and Celestria. Those two girls add a lot of books to my TBR. When I first started reading again and joined BookTube, they were the main two that were adding a lot of books to my TBR, and that's where I was getting a lot of book recommendations from. Number 3, book that has been on my TBR the longest. So for my physical TBR, it is A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I got this book for free a few years ago, and it's one of those books that, yeah, I heard it's good. I probably will never read it, but it's nice to own a copy and say I have it. Obviously by the bookmark, things have slightly changed, but it has been on there the longest, and since I haven't finished it, I'm going to count it. On Goodreads, it is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I have started that book twice. The first time I got 3/4 through it, and then the second time I didn't make it super far, but I think I had a lot of other books that were priority. The other book that was added the same day is The Girl Who Could See by Kara Swanson. This is a novella by her, and I've read a lot of her other books, so I'm interested to see what this is about. It kind of has mixed ratings from different people, but I do want to check it out. Number 4, most recently added book to the TBR. Sincerely, Secretary of Doom by Jennifer Kropf. The main reason I added this is because I want to read book 1, which is Welcome to Fae Cafe. I really want to read that, but my library doesn't have it. I do really want to read book 1, so I added book 2 because I just finished her young adult Christmas series, and you will hear that in a recent reads. Question number 5, which book will I read next? For my physical TBR, like I mentioned, I am just starting A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. This is a classic. It takes place during the, I think, French Revolution, and I know England had a little bit to do with it, but the French Revolution is very different from the American Revolution, so I'm interested to see. I've read a little excerpt before, but I'm excited to get to the whole story. Number 6, my most anticipated book on my TBR, and why haven't I read it yet? I have 4, so I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. There's one I wanted to add, but it's not out yet, so I can't talk about it. I know, I'm sorry. But the first book is The Elusive Truth of Lily Temple by Joanna Davidson-Napolitano. The second is One Wrong Move by Danny Petrie. The third book is The Broken Branch by Erin Mangum. And the last book is The Lost Library by Melissa Coslin. Number 7, book I added to my TBR because of the hype. And this one I do blame Lindsay and Celestria, and there's like multiple other girls who have read this. Vivid by Ashley Bustamante. So I heard about this book, I added it to my TBR, but then I kept hearing all the girls talking about this entire trilogy, and now I have to read it. Number 8, book I added knowing I wasn't going to read it. And this is probably going to be Stay With Me by Jodie Hedlund. I read the first 2 books in the series when I just started reading, and looking back, it's not as good as I thought it was. There are better books out there, and there are things I disagree with in there. Not like completely inappropriate content or anything like that. It's just personal things I disagree with. I did not like the second book, and I liked the first book, but I think it's just because I read it when I had just started reading again. Number 9 is any books that will remove. So I have mentioned some that I plan on removing, but I love fairy tale retellings, and there's this one author named Brittany Fichter. She has a lot of them, and I added a lot of them to my TBR, and I'm not saying they're bad because I haven't read them yet, but I do need to go through and remove all the ones that aren't a first book in a series. I don't like adding sequels unless I've read the author before or I know the content's okay, so I need to take off all the sequels, but I do want to try her books eventually. Question 10, the grand reveal of all the books on my TBR. So on my physical TBR, there are 7 books. Completely manageable. On my Goodreads TBR, there are 462. Now there are probably 62 I could remove or more, but they're just a reminder that, hey, these books exist and I probably should read them one day. So now I'm going to tag 3 girls, and hopefully these 3 girls can find someone to tag. But I'm going to tag Tabitha from Tabitha Gabrielle, Reese from the Writing Songbird, and Tiana from Twirling Meadow. So now for what I'm currently reading. So as I mentioned, I am currently reading A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I am enjoying it. I feel like we haven't gotten to the point yet, but maybe soon. Maybe soon. And in my Bible, I am on the last part of the Dwell Devotional by the Daily Grace Company, and that is James chapter 1. I'm going to start going through and memorizing each verse, and then I'll be done with that devotional. So yeah, that is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope God blesses you today. I do my best to post Tuesdays at 12:30, and I'll see you next time. Bye!